Do we just like normal stuff, or do we get deep, or like what's the
I guess when my dad died. Yeah, it was pretty traumatic, I would say. He had cancer. It was like, pretty quick though, but it was, awful.
Probably when I barfed in class. Well, I was sitting in class next to my friend, and we were drawing and, doing work that we're supposed to be doing. And then I threw up, and everybody was laughing, and it felt pretty humiliating, but it's whatever. I got over it.
I think for me it has to be losing my grandmother who lived across the street from me. It was really traumatic because she wasn't related to me by any means, not by blood. But like I loved her like my own grandmother. But when she had died, I think the shock of it all caused me not to like really be upset about it until her funeral. So like I just remember sobbing so miserably at her funeral, like alongside of my sister and my cousin, and it was just awful. It's the worst feeling in the entire world. I feel like I lost like not only a best friend but like a parent.
It was probably the time when I upset my dad a lot. So my family's really religious, and they don't like how stealing works, right? And then this situation took place like a year ago, but I stole like $100 from my family back when I was like 9. I gave all money back and everything, but it's still really terrible what I did. Yeah.
My worst memory? Maybe about the time where I was like in maybe like 3rd grade. I told my teacher that I was in heat, even though I didn't know what it meant, because I was like randomly fucking hot all the time because I was a fucking fat child. Because I heard my babysitter talk about how their cat was in heat and like rubbing up on stuff. And my fucking like idiot brain process, like, oh yeah, like it was the winter time, the furniture gets cool. It was trying to rub off on fucking furniture to get cold. But like, so that was fun. I hope that teacher took that to their grave.
That my best friend was dating my boyfriend, and she didn't tell me, and she like ditched me for him, and we never talked again. That made me feel like...
That's a big one. I don't really know. Probably seeing this. I'm not a big fan of baby fur things, but look at that.
That's a little suspicious.
Seeing my dad die of ALS in the hospital after 87 days. ALS, it stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. It's a muscle degenerative disease that, it basically makes you have the inability to do anything for yourself, even breathe and eat, and he just got worse and worse, and then after an 87-day stint in the hospital, he just passed on. There is actually a treatment that you can back. It's from Brainstorm. It's called Neurown, N-U-R-O-W-N, and it works phenomenally. Like this one guy who got a dose of it to test it out. He was in a wheelchair and on a breathing ventilator, just like my dad. He can run now and breathe on his own. It works, but the FDA won't back it yet, so we need all the help we can get.
Both of my dogs are dying. Dogs, they're like family there. You really can't, like, a dog can't turn its back on you. A dog can't backstab you. So I had all my trust in my dogs, like they're like my best friends.
I went to Oklahoma for my aunt's funeral, and I was finally kind of feeling a little bit okay, but her mom finally got to the house, and the second she came in the door, she started breaking down in tears, and it kind of hit me really hard. Like, my aunt was her daughter, and I can't imagine someone losing their daughter like that. Because she was really young. She was only 50.
My worst all-time memory, as tricky as that question is a very recent memory where, excuse me, my girlfriend my ex-girlfriend pretended to be pregnant and used it to mess with my mind and kind of fuck with me, but that's probably my worst memory to date, even though it was quite recent. She used it as a way, she threatened suicide in herself when our relationship was taking a turn. Not in a good way. I felt abused and taken advantage of because I'm someone who, I don't particularly want children in my life, but I was kind of, if it happens, it happens, that's my mentality. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm up for it. And then she like kind of messed with me a bit, and then was like, oh, I'm just joking, or not joking, I was lying to make you give me more attention, basically. So that was a pretty rocky relationship, which ended quite abruptly, as you can guess. That's probably my worst memory to date.
Guess maybe my mom being close to dying. It's like you suddenly realize that you're very, like, your own mortality in a way, and that not everything is forever. You're like reminded, you're like, shit, like people can suddenly leave, or like, you know, just even people close to you, you kind of get like, oh, like a reminder, a wake-up call, or whatever. It's a weird thing to explain, but especially when you're young, it's like, oh shit, people don't live forever.